Hello, welcome to WFUZ-TV, the People's Voice podcast. I'm Blair Castro, and I'm here with Thomas Jenkins. Today we have none other than Tater Harris in the studio with us. Tater, thank you so much for being here with us today in the studio.
Hey, thank you for having me. I'm glad to be on. Thank you, Thomas and Blair.
Yeah. So I guess we'll start by asking, what inspired you to run for county commissioner?
Running for office is something I've always wanted to do ever since I've been a kid. So when I was in high school, my government and economics teacher, Miss Moss, at Satsuma High School, she asked us to fill out where we wanted to be in, I guess it was 20 or 25 years. And so we traced our hand out on a piece of paper and wrote, which is kind of ridiculous to be 18 in high school and doing that. But so we did, and I filled that out. And then at our 10-year class reunion, she gave them to all of us that were in her class. And my mom gave me mine a couple years ago, and I looked at it, and one of the goals on there was run for office. Another was retire by 45. Not retired yet, so working on it, not there. And so my son graduated in May, and with our small business we have here, and me not doing as many construction projects, traveling like I was, the opportunity's right. I think we're due for a little bit of change in leadership in Baldwin County. You saw some of that with the municipal elections.
So what would you say is the thing that the county could use the most of right now? What is the foundation of your platform, you would say?
There's a couple things. One is infrastructure improvements. We need to focus on our eastern western corridors, I believe, a lot. We focused on a lot of north-south traffic, driving, traffic to the beach, which has been a boom for the economy. But we've got to focus on the people that live here and focus on the routes that they're taking to work every day. And so I want to look at focusing on the eastern western corridors. Current county commission, they've got several projects in the works on that, but I want to take that and enhance that. And work with our other commissioners and see what makes sense and put some of my constructional skills to use and some thoughts and ideas I've had.
So one of the issues that we face when we go out and try to address with different offices about like traffic flow and stuff like that is everything is always deferred to ALDOT. Do you think you can open up a line of communication for this area with ALDOT to do a more thorough job of getting things moving through?
ALDOT has a current director. We'll be getting a new director with a new governmental change, or governor change. So I'm looking forward to whoever that is.
Okay.
And open up the communication line. So, we're 10 months away or so from that change happening. I think that'll be good for the area. ALDOT does spend a lot down here, but Baldwin County gets a lot. But, us and Huntsville, Madison area are the two fastest growing areas in the state. And we need to focus and fight for our dollars, look at grants and other things we can to improve. But everything's not in ALDOT. You've got municipal roads, you have county roads, and then you've got state roads and federal roads. Mm-hmm. And some of the county roads are actually owned by municipalities. So you really have to go dig in to the road to know, like County Road 12 and Foley at 59, that I believe that intersection is owned by the municipality for part of County Road 12. So you really got to look at, the road and understand just because it says county doesn't necessarily mean it's.
Yeah, I think here in Gulf Shores specifically, traffic signal systems and mechanisms are some of the biggest concern with what we have going on down here.
Yeah, so, I know I talked with ALDOT, and I've been going to MPO meetings and talking with some of the engineers and other people involved, and they've spent some money on one of the projects on, synchronizing red lights. Mm-hmm. And they told me they didn't see a big return. Now, that wasn't in Gulf Shores. I know there are some problems with synchronization. I think Gulf Shores may be working on this currently. I don't want to speak for the city. I believe there's something in the works there. In Orange Beach, our police officers get out there and they just hold the button to move traffic when it backs up on busy concert or holiday wrecks. And so we'll kind of manually kind of take over some traffic in Orange Beach. And that helps move the traffic flow. I think it does kind of mess up some of the rest of the outside cameras, but we get the traffic right. It's kind of a double-edged sword.
Right. Yeah. What do you do?
Could you go into more about your construction background? I think that's something we desperately kind of need on the county commissioner. People that understand projects, a large, amount of money, people that understand construction, and people that understand growth in a different kind of way, and planning and zoning. How do you think your experience lends to that?
So my background is industrial construction. I started out at 18 years old, come straight out of high school, and was working on a shutdown at a paper mill in Monroeville, Alabama. We called it ARP, Alabama River Pulp. I think it's owned by Georgia Pacific now. But I spent first couple of years working for a local company called GA West as an electrician. My dad helped found their electrical division, held his master's license in 16 states. And then I kind of went away from them and got into instrumentation, electrical, the commissioning and startup side of the business, which we were kind of the people that would fix design or turn the light switch on or the pump on to make sure we turned the right thing on that it was supposed to. But I've worked on a lot of large-scale industrial projects, so multi-billion-dollar facilities. I was in Chicago for 18 months. There's a refinery just outside Chicago, Whiting Refinery, and that project was in excess of $10 billion that I worked on. I didn't lead the whole thing, but we were there. I think we had upwards of 13,000 people on site every day. So, you kind of see infrastructure when you're putting in. When you're working on these big projects, a lot of them, you got power generation that goes on. So you kind of understand power generation, you understand substations, you understand the electrical, the motor, the mechanical side. I've got an experience with a lot of that stuff. We've got traffic flow patterns, staggering people. There are a lot of things. So it's kind of like a mini city when you're bringing 13,000 people to one spot every day. But we do have concerns, whether, like the ice storms are hitting up there. That could happen here. It could, and it could be detrimental to us. So that's something we really got to look at is how do we firm up and protect Baldwin County and make it as a top priority, whether it's power generation or more transmission lines, etc. So there are some things we might need to look at. So, hurricanes, we've done a pretty good job. After Hurricane Sally, I believe my power was back on within 4 days, 3 days on the island, which was pretty quick.
Yeah, I'm struggling to remember how long. It was a couple of days for me here. I was just one street over from where we're at right now.
Okay. Yeah. I lived in Cypress Village at the time in Orange Beach, and ours come on. I had a generator, to operate, some of the house off of. But the power freeze work harder than those kind of disasters.
Yeah, for sure.
I've actually got a friend up there working on ice storms right now.
Yeah, I did see that they were dispatched up there.
I got asked a lot about that when I ran for office, in terms of what is for the city. And I was thinking, well, we defer to the county in instances like this, especially connecting Fort Morgan. Like, what is your evacuation route? How are you going to work alongside the county to have a solid evacuation route for the whole island? Things like that. A lot of people felt we weren't necessarily fully prepared for the last year's snow because that was so unexpected. And I think things like that may be remote, but we can still do a little better to prepare as a county for extreme cold weather, for sort of like natural disasters that might not be common, but I don't know, the way perhaps our environment is, I think they might be becoming a little more common or more frequent than we would like.
Well, with the snow last year, that's the most snow I've ever seen in my life, and I've lived here 41 years. So last time I remember a major snowstorm like that was in 1993.
Yeah,
I was a kid, and it was nor'easter, I guess they call it, come in, and I think we got 6 inches. I grew up in Saraland, Alabama, so it was that was a lot. But the next day it was, I don't know, it seemed like it was 60 or 70 degrees. So, you know, it melted quickly. But after this last one, you know, we were freezing and it was
got stretched out a few days.
It stretched out a little bit longer than we normally do here. I actually went on Canal Road and helped clear snow with my skid steer. So we've got some equipment here we can put to work. It's just not necessarily your typical snow removal equipment, and the sand does not work. So I don't know why we even throw it down, because it does not work. Salt is the only thing I'd say works.
I had a question about, in terms of, speaking of environment, like a lot of the big issue, you know, is development right now and preserving rural aspects of the county as opposed to developing more and more. I'm of the belief personally that development isn't bad. It just needs to be managed properly, which I think everybody kind of agrees on. But there are parts of the county where I feel like development is kind of run amok. And then there's other parts of the county where I think we really could use more development. What do you think about, in terms of, how do you want to get feedback on what can and can't be developed?
Well, our county's super diverse, and if you look down here on the south end of the county, I mean, we're well developed down here on the south end of the county. North end of the county is a little bit different. You got the Eastern Shore, you know, and they're growing like weeds, and people want to move here because Baldwin County's great. Now, I mean, we've got some controls we can put in place, especially when we're working around waterways, that we probably need to do a little bit better job with, you know, engineer controls for runoff and stuff like that, so we don't have things like that happened in Wolf Bay. That doesn't need to happen, and we need to take that very seriously. But we've got, you know, $5+ billion steel mill going on, but Novellis in the north end of the county, and there will be growth when you sink $5 billion into a certain sector of the county. And so, you know, you have to be smart when you're going up there, because they probably not had as much growth and, you know, Bay Minette as we've had in like Loxley, or when you're looking in, you know, Daphne or Orange Beach, Gulf Shores over the last 5 to 10 years. So it is a great place to be, but we've got to be diligent with zoning, and we got to look at the developments, and we have to have the right kind of development. I mean, I'm not one to tell somebody what they can do with their property. If they can build by right, you know, we shouldn't stop anybody that has a right to build on their property as it currently stands. That also doesn't mean we need to go run amok and just let people build without having proper infrastructure, drainage, really paying attention and digging into some of the fine details of projects so we can get what's best for the citizens of Baldwin County. Because at the end of the day, it impacts all of us, and we've got to make sure we take care of everybody.
As a county commissioner, what would you do to help sort of promote? So it's going to be a new era of county commissioners, because we're at least getting 2 new members no matter what. Right. So I think a lot of people want to know, what will you do in this new sort of era of the county commission? What are some things that will make it a little different than it had been run in the past if you were commissioner?
Well, I have some really good relationships with some people, so I'm going to try to, you know, work together with the municipalities as much as we can. You know, that there's, with the 30Q program, some of that's starting, and I want to enhance that. And let's work together so we can take one big stick to Montgomery and work with our legislators, you know, here. And so we need to be on one team. We're not one big city. We don't have one big goal like Huntsville has and Madison County has, where, you know, they're working on Space Force. They're kind of together. We got 14 mayors here, all important. And, you know, we kind of need to get together as a county and figure out, hey, what's best. And there's definitely some different needs when you're looking at the north end of the county versus the south end of the county. And then you got I-10 interstate, bayways, and, you know, the other projects. I know everybody wants to get theirs, but we got to identify some key pieces to go after, and let's hammer it and get some big wins. And I think we can. I think we can work well together on the county commission. You know, I certainly believe we can work with everybody that's going to be elected. So I'm looking forward to it. And looking forward to getting to work and helping everybody I can in any way I can. So.
Is there a periodic get-together of those 14 mayors? Do they do that and get together and try to good things?
I believe the mayors do. I'm not sure if there's a summit type with the county commission and mayors. I know they have some I think the legislators, mayors, and all the elected officials do have some meetings a year.
Would that be beneficial, you think?
Oh yes, absolutely. I think the county commission and the mayors, we need all to get together, and I'm happy to work with all of them. There are some projects and some things we can do from a county level. The mayor's got needs; they see different things than we do, and so I mean, I don't know everything, and they don't know everything, but together we know a lot, and we can accomplish a lot together.
I like that you mentioned the 30 Cube program. So that was one thing that I consider a big win. It isn't, I think that's also taking County Road 6 light here that I absolutely hate. That is probably the worst light ever. So to see things like that finally getting addressed are something good. I would like to see more projects like that where they're kind of working in tandem to fix something that's perhaps county owned but greatly affected within a city. And we're not just operating in silos. It's really good to have that sort of collaboration.
No, it is good. We got to look at a few other things because some of the cities may not have some of the budgets that the bigger cities do, and so we got to be able to work with all the cities in that program, and so there may be some ways to help encourage some projects in some of the smaller cities. They don't have as big as budgets as say Fairhope, Orange Beach, Foley, Daphne. They got bigger budgets than, say Spanish Fort, for example. I believe Spanish Fort's revenues are 12, 14 million a year, and Orange Beach is 120, Fair Heights is 180-ish. Don't quote me to the T on the number. I think Daphne's around 55 million. So when you start kind of looking at these, and then you get out to some of the smaller areas, Loxley and Robertsdale, I don't know what their revenues are. Some of them have utilities, some of them don't, so the revenue numbers can kind of skew a little bit.
Can you tell us a little bit about your personal life? Like, when did you move here to Baldwin County? What are you doing here currently? And sort of a little bit more about your background, I guess.
So my personal life, I'm married to a woman, a beautiful woman. Sarah, we met 15 years ago in Lima, Peru, at a McDonald's. So we've been together ever since we met. I just knew she was right for me, and we were love struck and been that way ever since. So I told my mama, I said, Mama, I met a girl in Peru, and she's thinking she's going to look Peruvian-like. So we come home. I met Sarah in August, and then I was on a project working for Chicago Bridge and Iron Engineering, and we were building an LNG plant. And so I finished up my project in November. I come home for Thanksgiving and then flew back to Peru and hung out a few weeks. And then me and Sarah come back and we come to Orange Beach and we stayed a month at Phoenix West. West 2 wasn't built yet. And then we stayed a month at the wharf. And but anyway, when I come home, when I got back, Sarah's blonde haired, blue eyed, and Mama was thinking I was coming home with a Peruvian. Me and Sarah got married 10 years ago, a little over 10 years ago, here in Orange Beach at Phoenix West 2 at the time, now the Oasis. And we chaired Art for Heart last year, the gala, and we had it there because that's kind of a special place to us.
True.
But yeah, so we traveled all over the country, me and Sarah. We worked in St. Croix, spent 6-8 months in St. Croix, spent several months in Pittsburgh area, Detroit, spent 18 months in Chicago, Chattanooga. We were 18 months, spent about 9 months in Northern California. But we've had a place here in Baldwin County basically since we come back in 2010-11 time frame. And we opened our business, I guess going on 7 years now. Yeah, 7 years ago in May. Or April, yeah. 7 years ago, April 9th. And our business started out, I was still traveling. Sarah was like, hey, let's not travel, as much. She wanted to work here. And the business started our first year. We did, 60,000-70,000 in sales. And our second year, we went to 360. in our third year, that was COVID 2020, so we lost 6 weeks to COVID, and then we got hit with Sally, and so, but we were the first beach open in the United States at the time. That was, the governor opened the beaches. I think Florida opened restaurants before us, but their short-term rentals were open later than us. And so we got an influx of people here that had never, maybe had traveled to Destin or Panama City, and now they're coming to the Gulf Shores, Orange Beach, Fort Morgan, and then our business really took off. And then our third year in business, we went to 1.1 million in revenue. So it was just a big boom, and we opened in business right time. Probably got a little lucky, but hard work brings a little luck. And so, my wife has been basically running operations on the business. I help a lot on the financial side or insurance side, or, kind of the back end stuff that you would do. And she has done a great job, and we've had a good staff and good employees, and they've helped make it what it is. So it just took a lot of hard work. We've learned a lot by starting a business, running a business. And with me in project and construction management before, when you're running $50 million projects or on $200 million projects, and you've got hundreds and hundreds of people under you, you're looking at financial forecast, and there are a lot of things you're looking at that's very similar in business, whether you're looking at permitting on jobs, you're looking at safety aspects, you're looking at logistics. If you're doing an outage, you got to have, job site trailer brought in, temporary power brought in, light plants brought in. So you're logistically putting together a lot of things. I think I can really help with some of my background and kind of personal life. I've got a son. He's 18, graduated. He's working as an electrician, or electrical helper, I should say, apprentice from my brother. My brother's got an electrical company, in a general contracting company, and so he's doing really well. He worked for us, but he likes doing that more than passing out beach chairs and washing cars that we. So.
I want to circle back to some of your stances on things. One thing that we have brought up here is our agriculture in the state. Where are you? What's your stance on state agriculture and helping farmers out and keeping overdevelopment from developing us out of our own farmland?
Well, I want to say I'm endorsed by the Farmers Federation, Alpha Farmers Federation. So they've interviewed me. They obviously think I'm the right fit for Baldwin County, and I'm happy to work with our farmers. I sit down and talk with them. I can go put my Carhartts on and get on my tractor and skid steer and go to work. But, we've got a lot of good programs like the Sheriff's Department working with ag, helping move equipment down the roads. The farmland, the farmers are able to, it's been hard to make a living. The new big, beautiful bill just come out. I believe there's some stuff in there for it. Pay attention to your ag commissioner ratings.
Is there anything that the county can do to take action to incentivize farming or being able to acquire the means to get into farming?
That I don't know, Thomas. I'd have to look into it, to be honest with you. That's not something I wish I had a better answer for you. I'll be honest. There are some things that you can do. There's this is probably a popular topic, but there's billboards, and if they're on farmland and they're kind of around other billboards, and we make it a little bit easier to put up some more billboards, those holes in the ground are worth money, and it don't impact the farmland. And it's really not, in my opinion, super harmful to the environment. And you got, advertising companies that's willing to charge people for advertising. That is one way to generate some revenue for farmers. And so, there are some things I would like to look at that says, okay, let's see what we can do to help the farmers without affecting our quality of life.
Right. Because what we're seeing is they're just getting bought out. they just can't turn down the opportunity for generational wealth, and they're just like, well, I can't make a living hardly off of farming anyway, and they just get bought out.
Well, and you have, the next generation may not want to farm.
Right.
It's their right to sell their land. I mean,
Sure.
If the next generation don't want to farm, I mean, and it just sits there collecting, you're just paying property tax on it.
Right.
If you're not acting or you lease it for ag. But, I mean, one way to look at it is, let's say you sold your land for 25,000 acres and you had 1,000 acres. That's $25 million. I mean, you can go buy $2,500 an acre land an hour and a half from here, and you can get 10 times the land, for the same price you're here. So you can go buy half the farmland, or if you had 1,000 acres, then you can buy 5,000 acres, and you still got half the money left over. Buy new equipment and set yourself up, and then you got the rest of it drawing interest.
Yeah.
So there are some different ways to look at it from a financial perspective. But, I love what we have here. I was in Magnolia Springs yesterday. Man, what a phenomenal place to be with the oaks and just the history and the culture of that place. I mean, we've got some gems here, and we really need to protect the gems that we do have. I like the farmland. It's nice to see flat, and, I don't want to see office towers everywhere, or necessarily maybe see, 18,000 apartments like they're building in Huntsville. That can be detrimental. So we got to protect our property. We want to keep our property values high, and we want to protect the land that we got here, and we want to keep our land values high. So it's a balancing act. I mean, I can't say we always got the right answers and everything's going to make everybody happy, but let's work with our farmers and make things easier for them. When we're looking at permitting and other things, if you're wanting to build on your land, let's help the people that are building. That's one of the things I really want to work on is, I hate the word no, there's always a way to do something. It's just figuring out how to do it, and it may not be right now. We may have to do some things to get something done, but let's make it easy, not say no, and let's figure out some better processes if we need them. I think the county's done a pretty good job, and there's range for improvements on some things that we could do. So not here to bash the current county or anything like that. They've done a good job, but every now and then you see something, you're like, we might could do this a little bit better. Speak up when you see it. So
one thing I wanted to ask about was the education in Baldwin County. So I know that you're from Orange Beach, and we live in Gulf Shores, so we have a different school system than the rest of the county. But I think the whole county as a whole, our education is important. One thing I'm really impressed with, of course, is the Baldwin Preparatory Academy. That place is incredible. And I like that we are now shifting to a mindset where here's some trades, let's train you on this, let's get some certifications. What do you think your role as a commissioner would be in terms of supporting the education of our county as a whole?
Well, I think we need to get the word out. I mean, anything we can do to help our young people. Entering trades is a great thing. You can make a really good living. I made a really good living in it. I'm non-degree, by the way. So you can make an excellent living. I mean, electricians are making $35, $40 an hour, which is, with the overtime, they're making over $100,000 a year. With no college education, no debt, and you can go work and learn the trade and learn the craft, and you can travel, or get on with one of the plants, maybe over in Mobile. If we bring some more economic development here, maybe some more opportunities here in Baldwin County for that. So no, we need to support that. The Mardi Gras crew I'm in, the Marshals, we've got a scholarship called Trades for Tomorrow. And so we've got an event coming up in March, and we're going to give a scholarship out for people entering the trades, whether that's HVAC or plumbing, welding, elevator mechanics, instrument technicians, electricians. Those are some good skills you can build and you can use, and you can make good money at it. That's great money in small business if you want to do it. Not everybody wants to be in business for themselves. I get it. But that's something we've really got to to preach to people. And there's nothing wrong with going to college. Hey, I was a brainiac in school, somewhat, but college is good. I mean, yeah, we've got doctors and lawyers and accountants, and there's a lot of reasons to go to school. But there's also a lot of reasons to work in a trade. And, at the end of the day, when you accomplish something, it feels really, really good. And you go out there, if you're an electrician, you run conduit and you get your run done for the day, and you're like, I accomplished something. And so there's some self-gratification in completing stuff. So we need to foster that and teach our people how to work, because our workforce is declining, especially with immigration, crackdown, and we're losing some workforce. Some of it good, some of it weak, bad. I'm not here to debate that, but we got to bring our Americans up and take care of our American citizens and our American constituents with good paying jobs. And there's plenty out there, but we have to foster the people to work and get the word out and the messaging out. I think the county can help with the messaging. I'm not here to jump into education and tell educators how to educate by any means. But, being in the trades, when I was in school, it wasn't highly thought of. I was 23 years ago, I guess I graduated. I think now, like you said, that's shifted. And I think the mindset's there. The Preparatory Academy is a great thing. And we can work with Following Alliance and other people, and we can help really, really foster that. So I look forward to enhancing our abilities here. And when we provide a good workforce and you have those young people, it attracts other business here. They want to bring their business here because we have talent, and we have talented people here. We just need to foster it so they don't go to other places and take their talent elsewhere.
One thing you mentioned was, as an example, Airbus and Mobile, and I think that's a great example because I know a lot of people that will commute from Pensacola to Mobile every day or from here to Mobile. So I actually would like to see some sort of industry come to the locations in the county that are not already overdeveloped, but that really need some sort of economic boost. There are places here that have that, so it's encouraging to hear you say that as kind of an idea or a plan, and you're not like totally opposed to that. 'Cause I think some people really don't want anything like that here, and I understand the fears, but I do think it could also help and have a lot of steady job creation.
Yeah, the big industrial plants, I mean, if you get one like Novelis in here that's in Bay Minette, I mean, they're spending $5 billion building this plant, and they've got thousands of people working up there every day. And those guys are, I mean, you just take the man, and they're working more than 40 hours a week, and they're making $100,000, and they're staying in RV parks or apartments or wherever they're staying, but they're spending their money here, and it's an economic driver outside of the plant and the employees they're putting on. It's going to help our restaurants, help our small businesses. It's going to help supply houses, people sell safety gear. I mean, there are a lot of things these plants buy, and the trickle down economics are really, really felt. I mean, I don't know the exact numbers that it produces for the economy each year, but I mean, you've got to think it's in the $50, $75, $100 million range. I'd have to talk with Lee Lawson with the Baldwin Alliance. I'm sure he could tell me the exact number. I don't know, but it's a lot of money generated in our economy that stays here, where people are working here and they're creating good jobs and they're creating a good life for themselves, and which fosters everything we want here in Baldwin County. As long as we're environmentally friendly when we do it, and we don't destroy what we have in our character, the places that are gems, there are places like you mentioned that would be good for it. And I'm sure we can look around and find some more sites. They spent, I don't know, it may have been 10 years bringing the Novelis here. They come in, they spent money, they got the site, and they had it prepped, they had it ready. So it fostered, when somebody got ready to pull the trigger, we were ready, and we had the spot for them. And that is going to pay off over time, I do believe. It may have took a while to get there, and there was some fun spent, and the vision may not have been seen, but it's there now, and I think we're going to really reap the benefits in the years to come from it.
That brings me to a quick question about tourism. So Baldwin County obviously has very high tourism dollars coming in. Especially when you look at the rest of the state of Alabama, which people don't really see as a tourist state, but it actually is, especially here, and that's why we're growing so fast. So what kind of things do you think you would do as a county, on the county commissioner, to help either promote that or control that, or what are your thoughts on tourism?
So tourism, there's 2% of our lodging tax in Fort Morgan, Orange Beach, Gulf Shores goes to the CVB, which is Tourism Board. So the county gets none of that lodging tax. It goes here and it's fostered here. Alabama Beaches, Beth Kindler is the CEO, does a great job with the Tourism Board. So they provide a lot of messaging, and the state tourism department, I think the RSA, they own TV and radio spots. I don't know how that works, but that helps some get the message out. They're working with Google ads, and then with the artificial intelligence, I mean, it's almost now, instead of you Google something, you go chat GPT.
Yeah.
Hey, what's the cheapest plane ticket? Instead of going to Google Flights, I'm going to chat GPT now, and I'm looking at AI. And so, your search engine optimization, where it was looking for keywords for Google, now it's looking at different words in AI, and we're seeing a big shift go to that. And so, I believe that the CVB, they're familiar with that, we just got to work with our industry partners down here. That'll be more their function, but anything we can do to help and look at tourism and, promote, we can, but our budget really needs to be focused on our infrastructure here and taking care of our constituents that live here from the county commission standpoint.
Can you tell us where people can learn more about your campaign and how they can reach out to you and get involved?
Well, one day I'll get one of them website things or something like that. No, I'm kidding. My website's taterharris.com, Tater. A lot of people spell Tater Tator. And if they're in Arkansas, they spell it Tader. True story, worked with our engineer in Arkansas, and he spelled my name Tader. So that's why I say that about Arkansas. My cell number is 251-689-5305. You can find me on Facebook under Tater Harris, or the campaign page, John Tater Harris, to follow for more on those. I'm on TikTok, Instagram, but mostly Facebook's probably where I live more than anything. My email is tater, Tater, at taterharris.com. I'm very responsive. Look forward to hearing anything anybody's got to say, and I want to learn more about the county. So if you got something, you got problems, you got something you want to share with me, I'd love to learn, because I don't know it all, and there are a ton of opportunities for me to learn, and I can learn from each and every person here in the county, and look forward to doing so.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming in with us today. And the name John Tater Harris will be on the ballot with the word tater in it, so you won't miss it. It's perfect.
One thing I want to say, I get asked all the time, Blair, and they're like, how do you get your nickname? And so I should have led with that story, but here we are at the end. So when my mom was pregnant with me, my dad rubbed on her stomach and said, that's my Tater in there. So I've been called Tater all my life. It's I guess that Dad did pretty good on the nickname. So I've been asked, somebody asked me in one of the meetings, I said, how much does it cost to get Tater on the ballot? I said, well, I'm paying the same price House Mac paid to get House on the ballot. So zero is the answer to that. But, thank you for your time, Blair and Tom.
Yes, sir. Thank you for being here with us.
Thank you so much. And the primary election is May 19th of this year.
Vote Tater.
WFUZ-TV, Coastal Alabama, Northwest Florida, the People's Voice.